A new enterprise agreement has been negotiated by your employers and your bargaining representatives, the Independent Education Union. Shortly, you'll have an opportunity to cast your vote. The proposed agreement consolidates 8 separate industrial instruments into one common framework for employees working in Catholic systemic schools in New South Wales and the ACT. Under the proposed agreement, many of your current arrangements would simply continue to apply. This presentation will take you through some of the key aspects of the proposal. A handout has also been provided to take you through in more detail. Following a successful vote, this agreement would come into effect 7 days after it's approved by the Fair Work Commission and would remain in force until the end of 2016. The proposed agreement covers teachers and general employees who are employed to work in Catholic systemic schools in New South Wales and the ACT. This includes those employed to work in a registered school or trade skills centre. The proposed agreement does not cover principals, those employed to work in early learning centres, preschools, before and after school care and vacation centres. It does not cover employees working in Catholic Education Office or boarding school staff, psychologists or counsellors unless they are employed as a teacher. Currently, Catholic systemic schools use several classification frameworks for non-teaching staff. In the ACT, there are separate frameworks for school officers and domestic and maintenance employees. Within this single framework, general employees will be classified within 3 occupational streams: school operational, school administrative, and classroom and learning support services. We'll provide more information on these streams later. As part of the negotiations, the following pay increases have also been agreed. Teachers working in the ACT will receive 1.5% from the first full pay period on or after 1 October 2014, and then 1.5% every 6 months until 1 October 2016. To create consistency, from 2016, general employees will receive wage increases at the same time as teachers, from the first full pay period on or after 1 January each year. This means that over the first year of this agreement, general employees will receive 2 increases within 6 months: the 2015 wage increase of 2.27% at the ordinary time of 1 July, as well as the increase of 2.5% in January 2016. From then on, general employees will continue to receive pay increases in January each year, the same time as teachers. General employees who are currently covered by the Modern Award, but who will be covered by this agreement when it comes into effect, will receive a 2.5% pay increase from the first full pay period on or after 1 July 2015, in line with the national minimum wage decision handed down by the Fair Work Commission. These employees will then receive the 2.5% pay increase for 2016 in January next year. So what are some of the key changes in the proposed agreement? Under the proposal, a new standards-based classification structure for teachers will commence on 1 January 2016, helping us prepare for the move to mandatory registration based on the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers. Existing teachers will transition to the new structure over time, and no teacher will be worse off under the new framework. The agreement also provides clarity around the support for graduate teachers in achieving their registration through the provision of orientation, induction, mentoring, and classroom release. It also outlines the expectation that teachers are encouraged and will be supported by their employer to engage in professional learning and development. The agreement brings together all support, operational, maintenance, and outdoor staff under one general employee classification structure that better reflects the duties and skills required of employees. Pay and conditions for these employees have been standardised to ensure equity across our system. As with teachers, no general employee would be worse off under the new structure, and some will have access to higher rates of pay. For the first time, the agreement also contains a statement which outlines the expectations that all staff support the teachings and values of the Catholic Church in schools, consistent with what currently exists in contracts, policies, and letters of appointment. As we mentioned, many of your current arrangements would simply continue to apply. For example, there are no changes to work practice agreements and promotions positions. Your handout contains more information on all the changes and what they mean for you. New personal carers leave provisions, previously known as sick leave, have been introduced for teachers, which are comparable to those provided in the public sector. Under the proposal, personal carers leave would accrue progressively at 15 days a year and, for the first time, would accrue uncapped, creating a benefit for long-serving teachers who may require more leave later in their careers. Additionally, all new teachers will receive an upfront allocation of 15 days leave when they start, and all existing teachers will also receive a one-off upfront allocation of 15 days at the start of 2016. The overall package also includes new provision for access to leave for unexpected emergencies, an additional day of special leave for scheduled family commitments that can only occur during work hours, for example, a graduation, an additional week of paid leave for the non-primary caregiver upon the birth or adoption of a child, updates to maternity leave provisions to allow for 14 weeks of paid leave to be accessed by the primary caregiver, whether that's the mother or the father, access to a range of additional leave options for general employees, including community service leave, exam and study leave, military reserve leave, and unpaid leave to work in an overseas volunteer program. Changes to long service leave also mean that employees will now be able to cash out a portion of their long service leave after 10 years service. Again, more detail on these changes can be found in your handouts. Under the proposal, the new standards-based structure for teachers would commence on 1 January 2016. The new structure would apply to teachers employed by any of the 11 New South Wales and ACT Catholic Systemic School employers on or after 1 January 2014. Teachers employed prior to 1 January 2014 would continue on the existing incremental scale and would transition over time to the new standards-based structure. A diagram illustrating how these transitions would occur is contained in your handout. Under the standards framework, teachers will be classified as conditionally accredited, graduate, proficient, or highly accomplished. Conditionally accredited contains two levels. Level 1 is a teacher who's in the process of completing an approved initial teacher education program, and Level 2, a teacher who's in this process but has previously completed another degree. Band 1 graduate is a teacher who's completed all course requirements of an approved initial teacher education program and is working towards achieving registration at Proficient with the relevant Teacher Accreditation Authority, or TAA. A teacher will be eligible to progress from Band 1 graduate to Band 2 Proficient once they've attained Proficient Teacher registration and have performed a minimum of 2 years of full-time service in a registered school. Band 2 Proficient is a teacher who's maintaining accreditation at Proficient Standard with the relevant TAA. This band will also apply to a teacher who's been classified as proficient based on the transitional arrangements. There are 5 incremental levels within Band 2, and a teacher will progress after each year of full-time teaching in a registered school. Band 3, Highly Accomplished, is a teacher who's achieved and is maintaining registration at Highly Accomplished with the relevant TAA. These teachers may be consulted with to provide mentoring and coaching at different locations to support the needs of the diocese. Accreditation at Highly Accomplished is voluntary, and there's no quota on the number of teachers who might be classified as highly accomplished. A key benefit of the new framework is that a teacher who achieves the relevant registration will be able to progress to the top of the scale in a minimum of 7 years rather than 9, meaning that there's a potential for teachers to have significantly higher earnings over their career. As previously mentioned, there are 3 occupational streams within the new general employee structure. School operational services, which could include, for example, cleaners, bus drivers, maintenance and outdoor staff, and retail assistants. School administrative services, for example, school administrative officers or financial secretaries. And classroom and learning support services, which includes teachers' aides, learning support officers, and lab or library assistants. Within each stream, there are several levels containing one or more steps, and progression through these steps is based on 12 months service, or 4 school terms. Employees would transfer to the new structure from the commencement date, that is, once the agreement is voted up and 7 days after it's approved by the Fair Work Commission. No one will be worse off as a result of the transition, with employees transferring across based on their current rate of pay. Detailed information on the indicative duties and competencies required at each level of the different classification streams are listed in the proposed agreement. So where to from here? Consultation sessions are taking place with staff across New South Wales and the ACT. The Australian Election Company has been appointed to conduct the voting process. The returning officer, or the person in charge of the vote, will be Mr. Richard Kidd. Richard Kidd is able to be contacted through rkidd@austelect.com if you have any questions about the voting process. The voting period will be from 7 a.m. on Monday, the 27th of July to 5 p.m. on Sunday, the 2nd of August 2015. Each voter will be assigned a PIN which will be used in conjunction with your payroll number as a password to access the voting system. You will receive further detailed instructions on how to vote, which you can do online or over the phone. These instructions will be sent by email to your work email address and physically mailed to those employees on leave or without a listed email address. If you've not received the voting instructions by the time the ballot opens, you can contact the AEC Help Desk on 1800 224 420. If you would like more information, you can find a full copy of the agreement and the explanatory document online at foundationsforexcellence.com.au. You can also ask your employer to provide you with a hard copy of the proposed agreement, and there should be one available for you to view in your staff room. Contact your HR team at your Catholic school or education office within your diocese if you have any specific questions about the proposed agreement and how it would apply to you.